The boys are going to Colosseum.
Yeah, we got Lampy.
The lamp is being safely transported.
And the controller.
The controller for the lamp.
I don't know about safely.
Well, that lamp is leaving my jurisdiction, and that's the only thing I care about.
Yeah.
Do not bring it home.
Okay.
Leave it with MC. Y'all be safe. Love
what
you.
What if I come back with 2 lamps?
This is...
No, do not. No.
3?
Why would you do that? Just bring us back more lamps. Be like, here, it found a friend. Bye.
Bye.
I don't think I started the vlog today, so hello everyone and welcome to
Thursday. Nope, Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I think I'm right in the sun, so sorry if it's super bright. I just finished Metroid. I'll talk about that shortly, but since I'm outside, I wanted to show where all of this stuff was, because the plants are like, they're moving and grooving, man. These just got put in there, right?
Yeah.
This is arugula and spinach.
Yes.
2 arugula, 2 spinach. And then we've got our basil.
That's coming up.
It's got a few little things there. Mint. Cilantro's got a little thing here. And parsley.
Parsley notoriously takes like 2 weeks, so.
Yeah. Well, cool. This is neat.
You see how big the melons are and the tomatoes? The
No.
seeds right there.
Oh, these. When you said tomatoes, my brain was like, tomatoes? Yeah. Yeah, we were filming when you put the seeds in the ground.
Yeah.
Well, ground?
The tomatoes,
Dirt.
they're both getting leggy, which means like really long and spindly.
Yeah.
Which isn't how they're supposed to go. The tomatoes are going to be fine because you can kind of bury them.
Yeah.
Because all the tiny hairs on tomatoes turn into roots.
Yeah.
But the melons, I'm not sure. So I actually threw a few melon seeds out in the garden the other day where I want to put them. So if these don't work out, then I have some starting out there as well.
Okay. That seems good. Yeah, this is
Everything in the garden is up too, except the corn, which might be up. I don't know if it's a weed or corn, and then parsley.
Can I see it from the window?
Not particularly. You have to go down there.
Have you been out there today?
I have, but we can go out there again.
It's just, it's just 83 degrees right now.
Is it shaded right now? Today? Like right now?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it is shaded. So, I guess we could go out there if you'd like. So what's going on here?
So corn might be up.
Okay.
Like some of this is probably grass, but there's a few that look not quite like that in the mix, so that might be the corn. So I'm not plucking any of that quite yet.
Okay.
See the beans on the right?
Beans. Yeah.
So those are popping up.
Cool. Very, very cool.
See the radishes? You can see there's the rows of them.
Yep, those are coming up.
The parsley takes forever, and that's here. Parsley is like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I took off more of the tomato leaves, the bottom ones, so we don't get any of the blight we were getting last year.
Yeah.
And then the peas are starting to come up.
Hey, peas.
Mostly on this side. And that side, there's like one right here.
Yeah.
And like that's it for the other side, I think. There'll be more.
This is exciting.
I'm excited for like the peas and the beans to grow and vine like they do and cover the arch.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
It'll be very pretty
Yeah.
also.
And I figure by the time they're done, the melon will have gotten going, that I can like trellis that up the vine.
Yeah.
Or the vine that up the trellis.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. It's nice that stuff's going. We'll continue to give the vlog updates every, few days or so. And we'll get a chance to see all of this grow. And I think it's actually particularly interesting because, and I might have made this clear. If someone wasn't aware, I can let them know now. We did a garden stream on Mouse Twitch channel. And that's up on the VOD channel now if you want to see it. And it's neat because you actually get to see basically all of this stuff planted. And so you really got a chance to see it like from the very beginning to whatever it becomes. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the summer progresses. But Mel and I were talking about like, you can't come out here when it's sunny. Like it has to be shaded because it's so hot.
In the sun.
It just, it's too hot. It's, almost dangerous because you can get sunstroke or whatever. But yeah, cool. I'm very excited. I'm less excited about some of this, but I think it'll survive one season.
Yeah.
One more season for sure. We just checked the mail, and there was this inside. This is a Bulbasaur catnip toy, and it said it's from Paul and Amy and Maxwell, which is very sweet. So thank y'all. That's very kind. It said it was a belated, and then in parentheses said lost Christmas gift, because apparently they had sent something around Christmas, I guess, and whatever they had sent got lost, or they got it through Etsy and the seller, it got lost through them. Anyway, this is a belated Christmas gift. Although, honestly, the timing of it's really good, because it kind of feels like a get well soon gift a little bit, because Kep's been dealing with so much other stuff. Where is he?
Kepo! I have something for you.
What is it?
Do you want this?
I want it. What is that, buddy? Is that for you? Yes, it's for me. This is, seems like a very one-sided Pokemon battle.
Kepler used kick. It was super effective.
Yeah, I definitely think Meowth has the upper hand here. Or Skitty. Oh, he's just trying to give him a hug. And also, rip his brains out just a little bit. You're a killer. That's what you are. You getting it? That's very sweet. Thank you, guys. That was very kind. And Cap loves to get a new toy, especially if it's filled with catnip. It's a few hours later, and I finally have a moment to talk about Metroid, since I beat it today. But first, I want to mention that it's the 1st of May, which means a thank you to our Patreon producers. Names are scrolling along the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to learn more about Patreon and how you can support Mal and myself and the perks that come along with that, you can visit supportsteven.com or click the link in any vlog. Thank you. Also, May. Wow. Time just never stops. Okay, so real quick, last week I think I talked about it a little bit, but started playing Metroid. Last week and this week was all it took, 2 streams, wiped it out. I played the NES version. I played it on the Switch, on NSO, and I did it with a NES Switch controller. It was fun. It was genuinely fun. It's a game that I think was very well done for 86. I think it's a little ahead of its time. And I think it's relatively accessible. There are definitely some quality of life things that were remedied in the future. Because the only Metroid game I've played all the way through is Fusion. And this is not Fusion from a quality of life standpoint, but I think it's not terribly difficult, and it was fairly accessible, at least if you're someone that has played a fair bit of old games. I had an NES when I was a kid. I've played a lot of older titles, and a lot of times the trick is to just kind of take your time, move slow and be ready for anything. And as long as you're doing that, I don't think Metroid will give you a lot of trouble. It didn't give me a lot of trouble from a difficulty standpoint. But also, I had a guide. I used the official Nintendo Player's Guide from 1987. And it wasn't all that helpful, but it did have a map, and I would recommend playing with a map. There's going to be purists that want to experience a game like this on their own and just find everything and draw their own maps. And if that's you, go for it. There are certainly things to discover. There are parts of Metroid that I thought were maddeningly obtuse. But if you know that you're that type of person, go for it. If you're not that type of person and you're just I just kind of want to see where the Metroid series started, get a map. You will definitely want a map. But otherwise, I think you'll enjoy it. Playing it on the Switch is great because you have modern features like save states and rewind. But I really didn't struggle with the game at all. I was careful. I think I died 2 times before I got to the end of the game. Didn't have a lot of trouble with it. There was a few times where I got stuck, but I actually managed to like get out using like more sophisticated tricks, even though I can't do those tricks on command. Like chat was telling me how to do them, and I was getting them sometimes, and I managed to like get out of one of the traps I was in. But there's a lot of like little things that you can do in the game that are, I guess speed running tricks for those that run the game. But overall, I really, really liked it. I thought it was very, very cool. The one part that I didn't like about the game, and this is just old game design thing, is that when you die, you go back to the beginning of an area with 30 health. And that's insane, because by the time you get to later in the game, you have 500, 600, 700 health. And for you to, you're fighting your way through things, you end up dying, and then you have to go back with only 30 health. That's bad. That's not good, because that's just a waste of the player's time, because then they have to grind health to even get back to what they were doing. And fortunately, so I died once real early in the game, and then I didn't die again until much, much later. And I was in one of those situations where it was like, okay, this is an instance where like I could reload a save, I could rewind. What do I want to do? And I ended up playing it out. But the only reason I played it out is because I had the player's guide, and it showed that there was an energy tank coming up. And if you have an energy tank, it refills all of your health. And I was like, okay, I'm going to push through, but only because I know that that's there. So I didn't struggle with the game too much. I didn't think it was too difficult. Although, again, I had a map that told me where things were. It was a huge help. And to be honest, that's kind of how I prefer to play these sorts of games. I also am putting on a show, so I can't waste time. I have to keep moving, not just to finish like the game in a timely manner and be entertaining, but because I have to move on to other games. But I also, like when I was a kid, I had player's guides for games, and I always thought that was nice. I didn't struggle with the game until the end. The end sequence of the game is so much harder than anything else in the game. And it's not even close. Like I took my time with Metroid, and I was careful, but I didn't have too many issues. And when I got to the end, it just caught me off guard of how hard it was. The sequences with the Metroids weren't bad. Once I understood how they worked, and it was like, okay, go slow, ice, missile, we're fine. And they also give you a lot of health back. That wasn't the problem. The problem of the game is the final room. The final room where you fight Mother Brain is wild. There are so many things on screen that are shooting at you. The game is slowing down because it can only render so much stuff. And it took me a long time. I died multiple times trying to get through that room. I made a save state right before I went in the room, because I was like, probably gonna have to reload this. And I did. And I'm glad I made that, because again, if you would die, you'd go back to the start of the area, and you'd have 30 health, and you'd have to grind health to get back there, which is crazy. So it took me a few tries, and I kind of got like a little keener each time I died. I slowly learned what to do. But yeah, that was really hard. That was really, really hard. And eventually I got there, but geez, what a wild situation. It makes me wonder what it would have been like to have beaten this back in the 80s on a cart for the first time. Like playing through it, you don't have a map, you've made your way through the game, you've made your way to Mother Brain, you get into that room and you die, because of course you do. It's so much harder than anything else in the game. And then after you die, you're sent back to the beginning of that area before you even have dealt with the Metroids or anything, and you have 30 health. And what options do you have? You have to leave. You have to leave the area and grind for your health to get back to that, and go back through the entire last area, get into the final room, and probably die again. Like every time you do that is like 30 to 60 minutes of just off-screen stuff. And we saved all that by having save states. So yeah, kudos to anyone who has beaten this on a cart, especially if it was your first time playing and experiencing the game. I know we have some folks who are a little bit older who watch the vlog, and if some of you played Metroid like back in the 80s and you got through it, kudos, because that is so much time to work through. And like, there's no doubt in my mind that I could have done that, but it would have just taken so much time. It makes me really appreciate the fact that we have, things like NSO where you can save state, you can rewind, because I think a lot of people that are going to be playing Metroid now, they're going to be playing it because they either want to re-experience it, they played it a long time ago and they want to get through it, or there's someone who's new to it, but they're kind of approaching it a little bit like as a history lesson. They're not really interested in having their face slammed up against the wall multiple times. And I think being able to do save states and reload and stuff like that is good for both parties, because people that are re-experiencing a game are generally busy adults with many things to do, and they're making time for a game. So having those things available to them is really, really great. And there's still going to be purists that are experiencing the game and they don't want a map. They want to make their own map. They want to find things. And if so, I think that's awesome. But I also think that it's good that you can make save states if you want to. If you, even if it's to the extent where like you want to turn your Switch off, but next time you turn it on, you don't want to have to enter a password and go back to the beginning. I think that's just a good quality of life upgrade, even for, purists who are doing everything on their own for the first time. All in all, I enjoyed Metroid. And I know folks want to know if I'm going to be playing through more of the series, and the answer is yes. I want to experience Metroid 2. I want to play the Game Boy version, just because I want to see what that evolution was like. In the Metroid 2 came out in 91 on the Game Boy, and apparently it was a pretty big deal. I was too young to remember that. I didn't have a Game Boy till a little bit later. But it was a pretty big marketing push for Nintendo. From everything I've read, they really were pushing like, hey, this is like a big game on the Game Boy, and I'm really excited to play it. And I made a Game Boy layout earlier tonight, so I'm all set up for it, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. Okay. Talk about Metroid. Certainly, if you've beaten it on a cart, I want to hear about it. But talk about Metroid, especially like the first one, and specifically, if there is a game in the series you really want me to play. I have a feeling a lot of you will say Super. I have a feeling a lot of you will say Dread, because people really like Dread. And there's going to be a handful of you that really want me to experience the 3D games. I'm making no promises about anything right now, but I did enjoy my first foray into the series. And, well, I guess not my first. I did play Fusion. I played Fusion back in the day. But certainly my first foray in a while. And I'm looking forward to playing Metroid 2 next week. I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?